Broadcasting from the Symphony Studios in Marietta, Georgia, it's time for the High Tech Women Podcast, brought to you by Symphony Technology Solutions. Listen in as we speak with and learn from inspiring women who have stepped up and stepped into careers in technology and construction. Now, here are your hosts. Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the High Tech Women Podcast. I'm your host today, Katie Galley, and in the Symphony studio with me, I have CEO of BroadStaff, Carrie Charles. How are you doing, Carrie?
Hi, Katie. Great. Thanks for having me on today.
Of course. I'm super excited to have you back because, Carrie, of course, you were one of our inaugural guests on the Technology Harmony podcast. And now we get to talk again specifically with something that I think is very close to your heart, this High Tech Women podcast, speaking specifically to women in telecom and tech, and, letting them in on kind of how you navigated this own journey yourself.
Yes, I definitely love to talk about my journey and help other women. It's one of my passions in my life, for sure.
I love that. And of course, you helped me come up with the title of this podcast, High Tech Women. It's just a great title. I love it. So I'm glad we could connect again, Carrie. And so,
Yes.
Carrie, again, just to kind of get to know your background a little bit, could you give us a little refresher on walking us through your professional journey and how you got specifically involved with the telecom industry?
Absolutely. So I started in telecom, but in a different type of telecom. So I was in the Marine Corps, and I was a 2531 telecommunications, but it wasn't the same thing that I'm doing now. I actually just carried radios on my back and fixed radios all day, and it was just a very different experience. But it's interesting how life comes back around, and I end up in telecom now in my 50s. So I've had a long journey as an entrepreneur in various businesses. And from the moment that I could have my own company, I did. And I've been in the financial services field as a certified financial planner. And then I went into the mortgage industry and, financial industry, and then commercial real estate. And then I took a break and I said, you know what? I've done so much in my life and business, and I've overcome quite a few obstacles to get to where I am. And so I'd like to become a life coach and a business coach and really help other people overcome their roadblocks, their barriers, and get to where they want to be in life and business. So I did that for about 7 years. I got quite a few certifications, and I really enjoyed that. It was such a rewarding experience for me. And then one day, my current business partner, he was not my business partner at the time. He came into my office and he sat down next to me and he said, I just started this staffing company and it's awesome. And it's in telecom, and it's just going great, and you should join me. And I said, what? I don't know anything about telecom or technology, or this is not my world. Like, I was in the financial world and life coaching. I'm like, this is not my world. And I don't know staffing either. And so he said, don't worry, you are going to love it. You're going to do great. Come on, join me and as an owner, and let's grow this thing. And I thought, you know what? I'm 49 years old. I'm going to be an empty nester soon. And why not? Let's go. I want to do something different. And I've always had this desire to really grow.
Carrie, are you still there? You froze.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good. Yeah.
Here?
Yeah. Now
Okay.
you're back. You said you always had the desire to grow, and then it froze.
Yes. So my internet connection might be a bit unstable here.
That's okay.
So I've always had a desire to to get into the technology field. So I thought this was a perfect opportunity for me to go in through staffing, because I have a passion for helping people and helping people find the career of their dreams and grow their careers and grow their businesses. So I didn't know anything about staffing or telecom, but I chose. it developed. And I said, the other piece of it, I think that helped me quite a bit in this industry is if you want to learn something really fast, commit to speak about it. So commit to a speaking engagement, and then you absolutely have to learn it. And that's what I did. So I got my first opportunity to speak in this industry from Alyssa Miller with NEDAS. And that was years ago. And I'll never forget, I had about 4 months to really learn my content. And it was only, I think, 16, 17 minutes long. But again,
that's long. That's a long
yeah. Look, when you're planning something for a talk for 16, 17 minutes, it's much easier to plan for an hour, content wise. But that also helps me because during that 4 months, I mastered my skills. I mastered my theme, my topic, everything, my industry, what I was doing. And, it really, really did make a difference. So that's how I got into telecom. And ever since then, I've really continued my growth pattern. I haven't stopped learning, have not stopped studying, going to conference after conference and learning everything I can about the industry so I can really help people better.
Yeah. And it is kind of amazing how you got thrust into this world, but it's a perfect marriage of that life coaching, that career coaching that you were doing and helping people, and you helping them staff and learning more about telecom. I mean, just bringing it all together, probably in an industry that you didn't, like you said, you didn't know much about before entering into it, but it brings all of these passions together, it seems.
Yes, it does. And you're absolutely right, because with someone's career, it really gives a person so much self-esteem and self-confidence, and it gives them the ability to take care of their family, put their kids through college. I mean, there's so much about a career that's life-changing for someone. So I get a lot of personal satisfaction from calling someone and saying, "Hey, you got the job. Wow." And they get so excited. Or from helping a company grow. Yeah. And helping that company find people and scale and go to the next level. And, it's just very, very exciting.
Absolutely. I mean, being able to join in that excitement with them, and really have that realization of, I have impacted this person's life in such a positive way.
Right. Definitely.
So Carrie, reflecting back, I mean, clearly you are not afraid to take those next steps and really kind of push forward in pursuit of your own passions, your own goals, and overall with that idea of wanting to help people and help guide people through their own lives. But it seems too that entrepreneurial bug and spirit has always been a part of you. So do you remember maybe when you were younger, did you have any indication of, I'm going to start my own business, or this is something I might want to do one day? Or was it just later in life that was something that started to form?
It's interesting because I wanted to go to law school. Really? When I was younger. Yes. And then I wanted to enter the corporate world and work for a big corporation as a corporate attorney. And so I just had that in my head that that's what I was going to do for so long. And then, life took a turn. When I was 17, my dad died tragically. I mean, it was a very traumatic experience for me because he had a stroke and he was on life support. And at that time, it was a very different time. And so I had to make a decision on, what to do if he had another stroke or another episode. And I made the decision to let him pass. Well, that sent me into this just emotional tailspin of, so many things were going on inside me. And at the time I was in college, and I dropped out of college and I joined the Marine Corps. Wow. I said, I've got to get that's when I joined the Marines. I said, I've just got to get, my life straight. I'm not going down a good path, and I've got to make this happen. So in answer to your question, I didn't really have it in my mind that I was going to be an entrepreneur until it was, I was in the financial planning. I was really selling life insurance. I hadn't entered into the financial planning world yet, certified financial planning world. And I was selling life insurance, and I thought, I've got this great idea for a business, and it's going to be selling financial products to women only. And everybody thought it was crazy because this is years ago. I was in my early 20s. I'm 53 now. And, all my colleagues were like, women don't make any decisions financially. You're not going to do well. And I'll never forget that. It's like the man makes the decisions. And I said, okay, let's do this. So I started a company called Financial Solutions for Women. And I was in my early 20s, and I just marketed, sold, counseled, women. And it was a massive success. And I ended up speaking on financial issues to women's organizations. And I got the bug then. That's when I got it, because I thought, you know what? This is fun. And it's creative. And I think that's what I liked about entrepreneurship at the time, is that I wasn't playing by, I wasn't playing by anybody else's rules. And I'd always played by other rules, right? Here's your system. Here's your structure. Go do this, show up at this meeting at this time, do this, do that, do this. And for the first time, I could create whatever I wanted. I'm like, well, I'm not going to do that. That doesn't make sense to me. Let's do this over here. And I'm going to do it this way. And it just it was so exciting to be able to have that creative power. And so, and then ever since then, that's just all I've wanted to do. I've looked for opportunity. Well, I haven't worked for anyone else since then. So, it's, it hasn't been easy, but it's definitely hard work for sure.
Right. But then it's like you're saying, I mean, having that realization of, I don't want to work for anybody else. I mean, I love what I'm doing, and I get to set the rules. I get to make this what I want it to be. And I mean, it's incredibly difficult work. Like you're saying, how hard you have to work to make it become all that it can be and all that you want it to be, but it's worth it because you get to do what it is that you're passionate about, what you're pursuing. And so Carrie, then what happened with your financial company for women? Do you still kind of manage that coaching on the side? Is that part of your life coaching, or did it kind of go away after you started to move through, your own career?
Yeah, right. I ended up meeting a guy and getting married, and I sold my company, and this was years ago. This was in California. Sold my company and had 2 kids, and I was a full-time stay-at-home mom for the first 7 years of it was probably almost 9 years, because my son was 9, my daughter was 7 when I actually went back into the workforce at that point. And so, I mean, I have no regrets. I'm thrilled that I had that opportunity to do that. It was really a choice. I will have to say, in hindsight, I'm probably better working. I was because I think I worked anyway. Like I volunteered at everything. I was just constantly involved in their school. I taught music there. I was at the top, involved with every charity event. It was almost like having a company and a full-time job anyway. So, but it was an amazing experience, and I'm glad I had that time.
Seriously. I mean, that is amazing. And 2, I mean, learning personally about yourself, knowing that, okay, I do want to constantly be moving. I want to be constantly progressing myself, others. I want to, in that pursuit of progressing yourself, helping other people, whether it's your own kids, expanding that into whatever realm it is. And so Carrie, reflecting back and looking forward, knowing you've impacted and touched so many different industries yourself, and looking forward, what piece of advice would you offer a young woman either entering telecom or either entering entrepreneurship, just in general, entering the workforce? What piece of advice would you offer that young person entering into the workforce?
I think that women, many times, especially young women, lack confidence. They look at a job description and they say, well, I don't have all of these skills, so I'm not going to apply. Or, oh gosh, I don't think I'm qualified for that, so I'm not going to talk to that person, or I'm not going to try that or take that on. And I think that's the biggest mistake that we make in life as young women, is we don't say yes enough, and we don't play bigger. Because for many of us, and I'd say for so many women, if we would just say yes and step into the role, we will surprise ourselves with what we know and what we can do. And it happens all the time, where I hear women say, gosh, I I had no idea what I was doing, and I didn't even think that I was qualified to do this. And I don't even know where this came from, but I figured it out, right? And I do think that I want to speak to young women and say, you're not going to feel comfortable. Okay, you're not going to know what you're doing. There's so many times where I had no idea what I was doing, and I just said yes and figured it out. And that's how you grow. So what I'd like to say is that you want to master being uncomfortable. Look forward to being uncomfortable. If you are comfortable, you're not growing. You want to be scared every single day of your position, of your goals, of what's in front of you, of what's, what you need to accomplish. You've got to always have this healthy fear inside of you, like, wow, am I going to be able to do this? And that means you're growing.
I love that. Do you have that healthy fear still every day?
Every day. As we're sitting here right now talking to you. Yeah.
Scared right now. It's fine.
Scared to death. Yeah, but I love it.
It's true. I mean, that really is such an amazing piece of advice, because it's that once you get into that level of complacency or just kind of comfortable with the way things are you progressing? Are you really pursuing the things that you want to go after, your passions, your goals, to help other people and progress them too? And if not, then why not? Why did you allow that to happen? And so it's then, like you're saying, taking ownership of that and then reflecting on, okay, well, how am I going to push myself out into that level of uncomfortability so I can make that step forward? And maybe it's something incredibly small just for that day, but it's doing something to push yourself out of that comfort zone.
You got it.
Learn from you, Carrie. Just learn from you.
Well said.
And too, Carrie, I know a big thing that you've pushed yourself out of your comfort zone into doing is launching your own podcast and starting to put it out content in your own media platform. So can you share with us about 5G Talent Talk, how that started, how that's going, and kind of your ultimate goals with that?
Yes, that was also a project that that I took on when I had no idea what I was doing. I had never done a podcast before, and I thought, hey, why not? Let's do it. Right. And so the podcast is called 5G Talent Talk, and I saw a need in the 5G ecosystem for information, content, advice related to workforce, how to develop our workforce, how to grow it, how to hire, retain, engage people. We were and still are facing a talent shortage in the 5G space. So it's something that is on the mind of every leader in telecom, in technology today, is how do I find great talent? How do I keep great talent? And then how do I engage my workforce so they stay with me? And it's been I've really enjoyed it, and I mean, I'm sure you do too, Katie. It's just been such a great experience getting to know my guests and delivering this content that I know is going to make a difference and help people. It feels good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's something about being able to, talk to someone, but look at them face to face, do video, and then it's knowing that this conversation could be fruitful and helpful for somebody else who's listening in, because it's that old adage I've heard so many times, and I love it. It's, you never know who's listening. You never know who's tuning in and can really be impacted by what you have to say.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
So Carrie, again, of course, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story with us through tech and just all of the insight that you have. If someone wanted to learn more about you, get in touch with you, and to listen to 5G Talent Talk, where might they do all of that?
So you go to BroadStaffGlobal.com. That's BroadStaffGlobal.com. And the podcast is there. Everything you ever wanted to know about BroadStaff, telecommunications staffing company. And then also my information there as well. I'm on LinkedIn. Please reach out and say hi. I'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much, Katie. This has been fun.
Thank you all for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode. To learn more about Symphony, you can follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube at Symphony Technology Solutions, and on Instagram at Symphony Tech Solutions. Never forget that wherever your pursuits take you, cling to the truth that you are absolutely made for a time such as this. See you on our next episode.